into the top 6?
Oh, it felt great. I mean, we knew what was at stake, so the win felt good.
And you just
Don't fall, y'all.
The way that this season has gone, just all the ups and downs you guys have been through. What does it just mean to get to this point now and get to the playoffs?
I mean, it was super important because 4 weeks ago, we all thought we was gonna be in a play-in for sure. We just knew it was gonna happen. So, we didn't know the possibilities and the outcomes, but eventually it showed, and we was able to handle business.
Just given how this game was flowing coming out of halftime, you just kind of take it upon yourself to
Yeah. Just be myself. Try to take the game over. Luckily, my shots was falling because if it wasn't, it probably would have got ugly. So, by the grace of God, I appreciate him for helping me with my shots.
How did it feel when you hit the 7-3?
Oh, I was super excited. I wanted it. I wanted to hit it a long time ago, but they didn't want to go in for me. But yeah, Rook, appreciate Rook though. Jalen Clark definitely kept me up to date about it.
Yeah. How do you feel about it? The way you guys are playing right now, going into the postseason?
I like it. I like the way we're playing. I mean, the defense can be a little better, but it comes and goes. But I feel like playoffs is for us because we play physical defense. We're a little handsy, so we should be good.
How far do you think this team has come really from the beginning of the season to now? Like, how do you view this?
Long ways, man. Finch said a great thing. He said the whole year we didn't trade anybody, we didn't fire any coaches. We figured it out upon ourselves. So that was a great point that he made. So big time.
Last season, when you had that week off to prepare for Phoenix, how helpful was that for you?
Super helpful, and that's what my message was to the guys. Like, y'all, we don't want to play in the play-in because I've been in both situations. We want to be fully prepared going into the playoffs. We want that whole week. We want to go against the scout team for those 3-4 days live as hard as we can, and be really prepared. Watch the film, read the playbook. You gotta be ready, man, because these teams they're fully prepared.
Your 23 is going to be your 4th postseason. That experience, how does that maybe
Helps.
come into this year?
Yeah.
What do you know now about postseason play that you didn't 2 years ago?
You got to be in really good shape to go deep in the postseason and to be able to affect the game on both sides of the ball. Like I said, you got to be in tip-top shape. And like I said, this whole week that we got to prepare, I'm definitely going to try to get in a little better shape. Sure.
And Julius and Donte got here late in the process, right before camp. Like, how did you see them settle in here, adapt to what you guys are doing, you adapt to them, to where it is now, where they're such big parts of what you're doing?
They've been great, man. Learning on the fly, getting to know everybody on the fly, and just trying to fit in. And, we tell those two all the time, don't try to fit in, we'll fit in around y'all. So we'll be all right. What happened? What happened, Bone?
Jeremiah had a 3.
You got a 43.
He talking shit.
And for yourself personally, like for the past year, a deep playoff run last year, you played in the Olympics, and then started the whole season. You're for yourself physically. Like, how have you been able to maintain your body, just being ready to go every single night the way you have been?
Oh, David Hines and Javar. Yeah, those two guys right there. And C. I guess you can say my whole crew. C. Hines, Javar, and David Hines, they're the reason why. I just show up and they make sure I'm good.
And you just feel good about any matchup that you get?
Yeah, I don't give a damn. Whoever. We ready.
Come here and watch the game and figure out where we're going to land rather than playing in the play-in tournament. So it's a good feeling. And obviously now you regroup and you figure out, next steps.
And how are you liking how the team is playing as you head into the playoffs?
Everybody feels good. This team has figured it out all season long. Injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, guys minutes up and down. And just roles fluctuating throughout the season. I think we're a collective group that is together, and I think going into playoffs you need that because any game, somebody can win any single playoff game.
What has it been just all season long, navigating the ups and the downs, the fluctuations that you're talking about to try to get to the point you're at?
Just staying together. Like I said before, I think this locker room is really connected. From the youngest to the oldest guy on the team, everybody's communicating with each other, and everybody can hold each other accountable. And I think that's huge, and we're going to need it going forward because it only gets harder from here.
What did it take to stay together? Why do you think this group was able to stay tight instead of fracturing?
Well, first, we have a locker room full of good guys. We don't have any bad guys in this locker room. Everybody likes being around each other. Everybody likes hanging out with one another. And when you have that, it makes it easier to communicate.
I was saying it looked like play-in was the possibility or the realistic possibility a while ago. How far has the group come since then?
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody's kind of thought process was, especially when we dropped the one in Milwaukee. Luckily, we were fortunate enough for other teams to lose as well. So we just knew the last 2 games we had to handle business, and that was our focus.
At what point this season did you feel like this is a really connected group?
There's not one particular game, but when you're going through the ups and downs of the season, and you may be going through it down, that's the time to really stick together. Obviously, fans want as many wins as possible. Everybody that supports us wants as many wins as possible. But when they're not coming at the rate that everybody wants, that's when everybody in the locker room has to stick together. And I think we did that through multiple times throughout the season. And then you got to really see who people were during that time, and you understand that we have a locker room full of good guys.
I'll tell you, this time of year, how much does playoff experience matter, really, when you get into some of these teams, other teams feel best as a collective group, the amount of playoff experience you play?
Yeah, I mean, it does matter. The game slows down. It's more of a half-court game, more of execution. And, I think with this team is when we execute and we communicate, we're one of the best in the league.
Able to, for the last 3, lock in and do what they were supposed to do
Sure.
and get those wins. How did you see them kind of pushing through this game?
Well, I mean, I knew it was a dangerous team because they shoot a lot of threes, and any team that shoots a lot of threes can get hot, and they certainly did that from the beginning. They only had 4 threes in the second half. That was no, my bad. They had 9 in the first half, so we held them to 7 in the second half. But we were able to not lock them down for a lot of that beginning of the second half from the 3-point line, so that was huge for us.
And obviously a huge night for Anthony Edwards,
Yeah.
but in that third quarter, he was the one who kind of lifted you guys up with the energy that you needed, as well as becoming the 3-point champion.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a little reminiscent of the other day in Memphis. I kind of felt going in, clean up some game plan stuff. I thought we were a little loose on some game plan stuff. We made some adjustments, and guys did a good job of carrying that out to the floor. And we were able to get out and run. We got a bunch of transition stuff out of our defense, at the right time, and we needed that. So,
Chris, just from big picture perspective on how this season has gone, and to kind of come out on the other side of it, now you're in the top 6. Just
Yeah.
What does that mean for?
I told the guys, super proud of their body of work this year. We didn't make a big trade in the middle of the season to sort things out. We didn't fire coaches to try to sort things out. They sorted it out themselves. Those guys made the right adjustments and sacrifices, and figured out who they needed to be as a team. Still got a lot in front of us, but I thought all credit to those guys in there, because it mattered to them to figure it out, and we did, and they did. So.
How do you feel just in general about how you're playing going into this now, and just where the team is at?
I think we're playing pretty well. I think we gotta get some other guys get back playing to the level I think they need to. It was good to see a great game from Nas and Donte today. I think Donte shot the leather off the ball, but Nas made a lot of just hustle plays, offensive rebounds, things that you just have to do when your shot's not going in, so it's good to see those guys, and they've played well. A couple of the last few games, and they've been playing well, but not hadn't been connecting on the shots. So pretty good. Most important thing is we got a day off. Guys have been pushing super hard, mentally and physically, and we get to regroup and figure out who we play, where we play, and what the week looks like.
I think we saw it last year, but what is the value of this week versus having to go the other route and maybe play 1 or 2 games and having no rest and no preparation time?
Yeah, I think it's huge, right? I think it's definitely just for game planning purposes alone. Gives you a ton of time. Talk about what you want to do, what your plan B might be. Offensively and defensively, you don't often get the time to prepare offensively. Most game planning is focused around the defense and then sprinkle in some offense. So, I know a couple of years ago when we played Denver and coming out of that play-in tournament, we got walloped in the first game. We're spent. like mentally and physically spent. And it really kind of took us until late in the second game to really kind of find our feet again. So yeah, I think it's huge. Really, really valuable.
Was there intentionality about getting the ball inside in the second half?
Yeah.
Was that the message at half?
Yeah, I mean, we shoot the ball really well from three, but we also have to recognize when they don't have rim protection. And we got to keep going there and go there, and whether it be on the roll, on the drive. And so, yeah, we talked about that at halftime.
And there are obviously reasons for it, but you often start games, not the first shot, but generally the first group of possessions, shooting a lot of threes.
Yeah.
Is that something you think translates well to the playoffs? Matters on the matchup? Or?
I mean, I think, of course, you'd like to be aggressive, but I thought the threes we took tonight were open for the most part. But we do have to understand like where we always have an advantage, or when we do have an advantage, like going to the rim. So we talked about that at the first time out too. So
a lot of young players on the team, but this is going to be like their third or fourth playoff series for some of them. Just what does the experience do, especially when you have kind of the muscle memory of what the preparation looks like and heading into a first round series? Yeah,
I think a couple things. One is we should feel comfortable in this atmosphere. Coming into the playoffs last year, like we were a little bit concerned about how Nas Jaden would play, and because they had missed with injuries the year prior. Now they've got that experience, played really well through the playoffs last year. So it's equally important for the guys who are, at the end of the bench, you're going to run the scout team, that they get locked in and get us prepared by, knowing what our opponent is going to do and how they're going to do it. So it's a group effort all the way 1 through 18 when you are preparing and playing in the playoffs. So.
As well as last year went for your team.
Pardon?
As well as last year went for your team, I'm wondering if you think this team has any advantages over last year's in terms of depth or overall talent.
I don't know. It's certainly hard to compare sometimes, but I do like. I think we've been comfortable playing with the 8+1 rotation basically all year. That's kind of what the playoffs look like. So I think guys will be comfortable in their roles. We might have to adjust as the playoff series unfolds. Last year with our size, we were very different, but there were certain matchup issues at times that we also had to try to compensate for. This year, I feel like defensively might be a little bit more, versatile, and also some on-demand scoring too. I think, so I don't know. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But
Chris, what's the value of familiarity in a playoff series if you're playing a team that you've played a bunch, or a team that maybe you haven't seen at all? Yeah,
I think, it's huge. I mean, we know Denver so well. As an example, we've played them in excess of 20 times. So, of course, you're going to know people. Whenever you get into a playoff series with a team, you learn a lot about them quickly. I mean, and things that you didn't necessarily have to the forefront of your mind. That's how we feel about Dallas too. But you got to throw the regular season out the window. Familiarity can help, but as we saw last year in the Phoenix series, people can reverse course on you, and so it's a whole new ball game, whole nother season. Thanks.